Bamala wa Rasulullah. Welcome to our Aqidah class for today. And before we begin, let me remind everybody, don't forget that we do have the Call In and Ask Sister Layla live show tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you can join our YouTube channel, our Facebook channel, D-Live, Twitch, Trovo, LinkedIn, Twitter, mixcloud.com, any of those social platforms you can join and type your questions, ask your questions about Islam, and inshallah, I'll answer. And if there's a question I cannot answer, then I'll have Sheikh Morsi on standby to help out as well. Okay, with that said, let's go ahead and get started on this class. And this is our Aqidah class, and we have been discussing what it means to the Shahada and what it means to have allegiance. To have allegiance to Allah, to His Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to the believers, and this religion, which is a big problem today. A lot of people ask, why is it that what's going on is going on in the world? Maybe Allah is trying to tell you something. Okay, maybe Allah is trying to tell us all something. We need to get it together. Whenever we deviate away from the Quran and the authentic hadiths, whenever our allegiance leaves Allah and is placed somewhere else, Allah will send His wrath. I mean, it's just a reality. So when bad things happen, it's either a punishment or a test, and only you know if it's a punishment or a test for you, because you know what you're doing that you shouldn't be doing, and you know what you're not doing that you should be doing. So, what's happening in the world is not against just Palestine. It's against all of us. It's just focusing on that part of the world right now, because that part of the world is where the Muslims are stronger in their faith. And why do I say that? Somebody asked the question yesterday, why did you say, Sister Layla, that they're stronger in faith? I didn't say it. Allah said it. Okay. Where's my dalil? Simple. A person came to the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, "O Prophet of Allah, who are tested the most severe amongst us? Which people are tested the worst, the hardest amongst us?" And he said, "The prophets of Allah." And then the man said, "Well, after them, who is tested more severely, the most severely?" The Prophet said, "Those who are strongest in their iman." And this is something that we have to understand as Muslims. And this is for my new shahadas. Wait a minute, let me turn this down. I want my new shahadas to understand the stronger. This is the total opposite of what you were taught as a Christian. The stronger a person's faith, the Prophet said, the more severe his trials will be. Allah says in the Quran, He will test us in accordance to how strong we are in our belief in Him. So what's happening in the world today, those Muslims, not just in Palestine, because it's happening in other parts too that we don't hear about, okay? But all those other parts of the Muslim world where the Muslims are being killed, where the Muslims are being oppressed and beaten and blown up and murdered, these are the Muslims who are strongest in their iman. That's the reality. Okay, that's the reality. They can handle it. The question is, can you? Can me? Can we? Because it will eventually come our way too. So we have to understand that the stronger your iman, the greater your trials, the greater and more severe your tests will be, to the point that when you do leave this earth, you are forgiven of your sins. And this brings me to the second question that a person asked me. Why is it, and I'm going to talk about this, why is it that a lot of Muslims are referring to the Muslims that are dying in Palestine as being martyrs? Well, let me first answer that question by saying that's why they're saying that. You know, the Prophet said that the stronger your iman, the greater your test, Allah will send the trials on you to the point that when you die, you'll be forgiven of all your sins. Okay? So that's why they're saying that. But Islam teaches us that we're not supposed to refer to anyone as being a martyr, because only Allah knows who the true martyrs are, because only Allah knows who is being punished and who is being tested. Okay? But when you hear people saying that, what they're saying is, what they are trying to say is, these people are dying, and it appears that they could fall in the category of a martyr for so many different reasons. You understand? But that's the basis of them saying that hadith, you know. And there's so many other parts to that hadith too, like being one of the signs of a good ending. What are some of the signs of a martyr? The signs of a good ending: a building falling down on top of you. You die from a building, a bomb being blown, and your building falling down. That's the sign of a good ending. Okay. You are die protecting your family. That's another sign of a good ending. So it's many reasons why, but that main hadith is the one I just quoted. Allah will test us in accordance to our faith, and He will send trials and calamities upon you to the point that you will be forgiven of all your sins, like a martyr. You understand, sister? Because that's one of the, she said it makes sense. Yeah, so that's why. Okay, but technically, we're not supposed to refer to anyone as being a martyr, because only Allah knows who they are. But we can say the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he heard Umar after the battle of Badr, Umar radiallahu anhu was walking around the battlefield looking at the people who had been killed, and he said, he's a martyr, he's a martyr, he's a martyr. And the Prophet stopped him and said, no, that man there is in the hellfire now, holding on to the red cloak that he stole from the war booty. And he taught Umar, don't say that this person's a martyr, but instead say, this person could have possibly died a good ending. So that's what we say. It appears that that person had a good ending. Okay, that's the more appropriate thing to say. But I hope that answered your question. Okay, so with that said, let's get to our topic. Okay, because we have the Sunnahfollowers. By the way, the Q&A show is tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but I answered those two questions because this is one of my new shahadas, and she won't be able to be here. So I hope, I got your answers in there. So let's get to our class for today. We are still studying chapter 16. We're in chapter 16 of Diluting Wella Well Better by Sheikh Karim Abu Zaid. And this is a great chapter because we are speaking about the meaning of la ilaha. La ilaha. We're speaking about the meaning of it. And this means that not only are we testifying that Allah is the only one worthy of worship, but we're also negating, which means we're showing better against anyone or any other entity that dares to compete with him in that. Okay, So let's put the PowerPoint up on the screen. And I want you guys to get your books out. Everybody should have. Oh, is this it? I'm looking. I got 2 PowerPoints on my screen. Yeah, this is it. I was like, wait a minute, did I do 2? Okay. Yeah, so this is chapter 16. We'll be picking up where we left off yesterday, speaking about rulers and leaders to disavow or disassociate with. Yesterday, we spoke about Shaitan and others who claim to have the right of divinity. Divinity only belongs to Allah. We also spoke about how as Muslims, we disavow anything that contradicts worshiping Allah alone. That's where the birthdays and all that fall in. Well, today we're going to speak about the rulers and leaders, and I want you young brothers to pay attention. Another aspect of Taghut are rulers who enact laws other than the laws of Allah. What does this mean? This is a political system or an ideology that opposes Allah's teachings and values. It's a political system or an ideology that contradicts the principles of Tawheed. Huh?
The PowerPoint is not showing.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. Oh, how does that happen? It did it yesterday too. I thought it was show like I saw. Can y'all see now? Let me wait. Let's see. Wait a minute. This is what the problem is. This okay. Can y'all see it? There it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's do it again so y'all can read it. Another aspect of Taghut are rulers who enact laws other than what Allah has revealed. Also a political system or an ideology that opposes Allah's teachings, that opposes Allah's values, that contradicts the principles of al-wala wal-bara, which is allegiance and disassociation. And what are some examples of that? Well, let's look at a few examples. Number 1, say you have a government that establishes laws and regulations that contradict Islamic principles and don't align with the Quran and Sunnah. For example, let me give y'all an example. What we have in America, the LGBTQ, whatever they got, they add more to it every day. LGBTQT, whatever. Same-sex marriage. There's a law. You can come to America. America has a law thanks to you all. You Muslims in America, y'all put Obama in office. I'm going to always throw that up in y'all's faces because instead of y'all listening to me, instead of y'all listening to people like Kareem Abu Zaid, instead of y'all listening to Sheikh Atlee, y'all listen to those other famous celebrity scholars who are not scholars, celebrity men and celebrity women who told y'all to go and vote for Obama. Well, Obama was the one that passed that same-sex law. He's also the one that sold all them weapons to Israel. Hello, y'all got to answer to Allah for that. I'm sorry, brothers and sisters, you're going to answer to Allah for that. You better do some good repenting. Okay, but Obama passed that law where you can come to America. Anybody can marry anybody. Women can marry women. Men can marry men. I don't even know. They might have it where you can marry an animal. I think you can marry animals here because I did see something on the news where a woman married her dog. Yeah, only in America. You can make, because it's a land of freedom. You can marry your pet dog. Okay? Whenever we establish laws and regulations that contradict our belief system, whenever we establish laws and regulations that don't go align with the Quran and Sunnah, this is an example of Taghut. This is another example of Taghut. This is another example of, aligning yourself, with the law or transgressing the limits of yourself. Now, America is not a Muslim country, So it can do what it wants to do, but you Muslims are not supposed to support it. Living in America, we don't vote in elections. This is why you should never vote in elections. But y'all didn't listen. Okay? So we take no part in that crap, that political system. I don't know why you Muslims are taking a part in America's political system. It totally contradicts Islam. Allah tells you in the Quran, they'll never accept us. They'll never accept us as an equal. They'll never cater to us. They don't even like us. They'll do the opposite of what we suggest. So we have to distance ourselves. Do el better. We don't participate in their elections, presidential elections. We don't participate in America's political system. We don't participate in their ideology. We do well better. We got a lot of so-called Muslim women and men who are in leadership positions here. I'm talking governor, councilman, all that. It's talking about we're going to make a difference. Well, I'm here to tell you, sweetheart, didn't Allah say you won't? So all these Muslim women and men who are senators and all of that, did they stop the passing of any law? No. Did they stop the arms from going to Israel? No. Can they stop it? No. Allah already told you, you will never be able to stop them. They're not going to ever listen to you. So you just wasted your time becoming a governor, a senator, a council, a Muslim woman, whatever these famous people are that you see. And you ain't even got your hijab on right, sister. You know what I'm talking about? The Somali sister. Ain't even got her hijab on. She don't even dress the part. You went through all that for what? Your voice ain't ever going to be heard. You would have done better staying home with your children, homeschooling your children and teaching them what la ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah means. Taghut. Okay? This is America. It ain't Somalia. This is not a Muslim country. They're never going to accept us. They're never going to listen to us. They're never going to cater to us. So we do well better. We get along with them. We don't break the laws. If they pass the law to have same-sex marriage, that's their business. But we disassociate from it. We don't take part in none of it. And any Muslim living in America who think that you can make a change, and that's why you in politics, you are a nincompoop. Because you think you can do what Allah said you won't be able to do. Allah speaks the truth, not you. Everybody got that? And I think I just tore that sister down. Hello, thank you. Go home and take care of your children. All right. Another example of Taghut. Prioritizing human opinions and judgments over the guidance and teachings of Allah and His Messenger. This is a common problem that we see with our nation, our ummah today. It's all about your opinion, your judgment, what you think, what you feel over what Allah said. I'm going to bring it home to a lot of sisters. So we was having this discussion earlier. One of the things I keep hearing over and over and over again from a lot of the sisters here in this website, I just don't agree. I don't agree with why Allah said a man can have more than one wife. I am so sick and tired of you women. And your opinion, your judgment about polygamy. This is a part of our religion. Okay? It ain't for you to try to understand. It's for you to accept. You will never be able to understand the wisdom of Allah. You're not intelligent enough. You're supposed to submit. What does the word Muslim mean? Submit to his judgments. Submit to his guidance. Submit to his teachings. That's your job as a Muslim woman. Do you sisters understand it? And I'm talking to I'm in 2 polygamy groups here. Oh my God, you sisters. Islam is not bad. It's the men you marry, because you chose to marry a man who abuses this religion. Because you chose to marry an oppressive dude, you want to put it on Allah. Blame it on Allah. This ain't the Milli Vanilli show, okay? Blame it on the rain. This ain't the Milli Vanilli show. Blame it on yourself. You chose to marry a loser. Polygamy is good. Polygamy is clean. There's a lot of good in it. You don't see it because you made a poor choice. And this is something that we have to understand. What does the word Muslim mean? One who submit yourself to Allah. Submit to him. Stop trying to argue with him. Stop trying to debate with him. Stop trying to change his laws. Stop trying to change his rules. The same with you women that don't want to dress right. Well, in my opinion, it's oppressive to tell me that I'm a woman and I can't control my own body. Oh yeah, this is what one of the sisters said earlier today. I should be able to make my own choices as to how I choose what I choose to do with my body. Are you insane? Oh yeah, you are. Okay. Submit. Submit to the teachings of Allah and his messenger. Submit to Allah's laws and judgments. Take your opinion, your feelings, and toss them down the drain. Y'all understand that? Those who do put human opinions and judgments over Allah, this is Taghut. This is Taghut. Okay? Also, claiming to have the power to legislate or make decisions equal to or greater than that of Allah. A government that claims that it can make its own laws over the laws of Allah. For example, say you were the ruler of a Muslim country. I ain't talking about America. America it doesn't fall in. It's not a Muslim country. Say you're in a Muslim country. You don't agree. You think it's oppressive, okay, that a person should lose their hand or whatever for stealing. You think that Allah was wrong with this. So you're going to change that and make it whereas, okay, you'll just do a couple of months in jail and that's it or something. You claim that you have the power to make those type of decisions because you believe that Allah didn't know what would happen in this day and age. You know, this is another example of Taghut. Rulers who enact laws other than what Allah has revealed and think they're justified in doing so, think they have the right to do that. Also, another example of this, promoting or endorsing systems or ideologies that oppose the teaching of Islam and deviate from the principles of Tawheed. This is another reason why we don't supposed to vote in elections here. This is America. Another reason why we don't go around voting for presidents. Their systems and ideologies totally oppose us. By the way, guys, there's no democracy in Islam. Did y'all know that? Islam is not a democracy. We don't believe in a democracy. Okay? We don't even believe in a republic. We believe in a caliphate, and that's not going to happen until the Mahdi comes back. Okay? So I don't understand how anyone who calls in their right mind would tell y'all that it's okay to participate in presidential elections here in America. The whole system, the American system is not even set up the way our way teaches to be. We don't believe in no democracy. You can't choose to vote and the majority rule as to whether or not a woman can wear a hijab. There's no majority rule vote. There's no majority rule on who's going to be the leader. There's no majority rule on who's going to be the imam of the mosque. The rule is whoever knows the most Quran. We don't vote. We don't hold elections on who's going to be the one to lead in prayer. It's who knows the most Quran. So again, that too, is, I told people, y'all didn't listen to me. Didn't listen to those of us who were telling y'all about this election crap. This Obama election voting that y'all did. And now y'all got Obama's friend in office, Biden. That's Obama's friend. Oh yeah. They all believe that their ideology is the same. Okay? And their ideology is in total contradiction to us. If Obama was president today, he would be doing the same thing Biden is doing. Do y'all not know that? If he was president today, he would be sitting there endorsing Israel. He already said it in his interview that he gave a week ago. In an interview he gave a week ago, he said, we can't just totally blame Israel. We have to blame the Hamas too. And he would be doing the same thing. They have an ideology that totally contradicts us, America's ideology. But y'all vote for them. Okay. And then also another example is believing that man-made laws are superior or more accommodating and better suited to our lifestyle than the laws of Allah. We hear that a lot. I'll never forget a few years ago, right here on my website, some sister from Nigeria had joined. We were doing a class and she was asking us to sign a petition. She wanted me to pass it around to sign a petition to stop the stoning or something. I don't know, of adultery or something in her country or something. I don't remember. But whatever it was, I remember Sheikh Morsi said, we don't sign that stuff here, because he was teaching at that time. He said, we don't do that. That's Islamic law. You got a problem with with the law, then that's your problem. You know, we don't participate in stuff like that. We don't go against the teachings of the Quran. Well, it's inhumane. Well, if it's inhumane, that's your opinion. Okay, but we cannot sign no documents opposing what Allah says because you women think it's inhumane. I know. So again, you know, that's another example of Taghut. Okay, so we have to be careful. Just like I tell you guys, there's a lot of sins that fall in the category of disbelief. There's also a lot of actions that we do as Muslims that fall in the category of shirk, that fall in the category of Taghut. Y'all understand? That's why we have to really educate ourselves about our religion and check our actions, check our behaviors to make sure that we're not transgressing the limits of Allah. And when you guys are voting in these presidential elections, y'all are transgressing the limits of Allah. I don't care what these good speakers tell y'all. What does Allah say in the Quran? What did the Prophet Muhammad say? The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was clear. He said a non-believer can never A non-believer can never be a guardian or ruler over a Muslim because our ideologies are different. Our lifestyles are different. Everything is different. Okay? And especially when you look at America as a democracy, Islam is not a democracy. That should tell you right there. So when you guys are sending me videos, and this is for the sisters here, when y'all sending me videos from this one particular Muslim woman from Somalia, I don't care about nothing she got to say. Number one, I have no respect for her because number one, she doesn't dress like a Muslim. Number two, where is she supposed to be as a woman? Number three, if she understood anything about Islam, what is she doing holding any political position here in America? America, whose ideology is the total opposite of Islam. I have no respect for that woman. So don't waste my time sending me nothing that she got to say. Remember, it all begins with you. Charity begins at home. She can make a video crying about Palestine all she want to. She can make a video speaking out for the Palestinians, but look at you. You ain't even got a hijab on. You don't even have a abaya on. You don't even have a khimar on, and you're standing up in the front of a bunch of men crying about injustice when you are publicly being unjust to Allah. Do you sisters hear me? She's publicly showing disrespecting Allah by disobeying him. So please don't send me no videos of no Muslim woman who has no taqwa Allah because she's standing up publicly in defiance of his laws on how we're supposed to dress. She don't look like me. Put me and her together. You wouldn't even be able to tell that we're both Muslim. You would think she's with them. You know, she should look like me. She should have on the same thing I got on right now, an abaya and a khimar. But she doesn't. Her neck is out. Her ears are out. You can see her big Somali butt. My Arabic big butt is hidden. So women, don't send me no more videos because it makes me angry. Because as a daya, I look at it differently than you all. I look at videos of women like her as being the reason why, the cause of what's happening in Palestine. Because those Palestinian women don't look like her. They look like me. Those Palestinian women on TV who's losing children, put me and her together. She doesn't look like she's with us. She looks like she's against us. Her lifestyle shows she's against us. I'm sorry. Y'all see, my way of thinking is differently. La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah, el wala wal bara. This is the time to show solidarity. I keep telling y'all, all that protesting, boycotting doesn't mean nothing. What she needs to do, if she wants to help the Palestinians, as whatever, a congresswoman, whatever she calls herself, LGBT, I don't know what they are. She needs to support them, show solidarity to the Palestinians by at least dressing like a Muslim. Don't be ashamed to come out your house with an abaya on. Don't be ashamed to come out of your house with a khimar on. And then you look in the camera and you say, La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah, those are my people. That's what she should say. Y'all get it? Lailanasheeba, I think differently. I'm not impressed with these people and their pretend facades. It's time to come back to the Sunnah. It's time to know your place. That's the problem. Muslim women are feminists today. She looks like the feminist movement to me. She looks like she belongs with those feminists. She don't look like me and the Palestinian sisters. Okay? It's time to learn your place. It's time to look at the signs of Allah and come back to the deen. But no, they're not going to do that because they don't want to give up their fame. They don't want to give up their Congress seat. Just like we talked about when I did the story of Maria the Copt. When the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam sent the letter to the Muqawqis of Egypt, he said, he just may be the prophet, but I can't do it. I can't support him because if I did, I'll lose my position. I'll lose my rulership. So don't waste my time with these wannabe women in America who y'all think are all that in a bag of chips because they claim to be Muslim and they claim to be with the kafir. They don't impress me. Either you with us or you against us. That's my thing. There ain't no half Muslim. There ain't no half Muslim, half kafir. There ain't no wala and half batter. Either you with us or you against us. If you with me, you should look like me. Look like me. Look like them. You ashamed to put on your Somali. This is a Somali khimar I got on. She's too ashamed to put on her Somali khimar. She's too ashamed. This is a Somali abaya. I'm dressed like a Somali today. She should look like this. You'll never see her with it on. Don't waste my time. I ain't got time for these nobodies in America. Hello. That's my speech on that. So, all of these scenarios that I just went over constitute major shirk. Shirk el-akbar, which we talked about in so many classes here. Whenever we take laws over the laws of Allah, think that we can legislate rules and guidelines over his, this is putting yourself on a level equal to him or above him. And this is association. And as Muslims, we have to disassociate from that. And that also includes disassociating from those rulers who do that too. Islam encourages us to establish a society based on the belief of only Allah is worthy of worship, and our allegiance should be to him, to the prophet, and the believers. The believers. But, and this is important, I want all you young brothers to pay attention. This is important. Islam forbids us from rebelling against our rulers, even if those people are ruling contrary to what Allah has commanded. Very important point here. Pay attention. I'm going to break it down in plain, simple, grassroots American English, which is the easiest, most simplest English to understand. If you live in a Muslim country, such as Saudi Arabia, such as Oman, such as Egypt, such as Morocco, such as Somalia, or whatever, even if your king, your ruler, has imposed laws that openly contradict the laws Islam forbids us to rebel against them. Where's the dalil? The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, unless he said, obey your rulers, even if they had the head of a raisin, an Ethiopian with the head of a raisin, unless they openly deny la ilaha illallah, unless they openly deny that, we do not rebel against them. There's another hadith where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, even if your rulers are corrupt, do not fight against them. Do not rebel against them as long as they pray publicly and they continue to do the prayer. Right now, with what's going on in Palestine, like I said, you got all these, like this woman I'm talking about here in America, this Somali woman that's a congresswoman, no hijab, no abaya, no kimar, just look like a non-Muslim woman with a turban on. Okay? Well, you got other people like her and other people referring to those Muslim countries, leaders, as being kafir. First of all, we got to be careful of that. The Prophet Muhammad told us we can never refer to another Muslim as being a kafir unless that Muslim tells you he's one. Because if he or she ain't one, you will become one. And not only are these people doing that, calling them kafir, but they're demanding that people raise up against the ruler. That's not how we do. Allah will deal with them. Because whenever you put yourself in a position of leadership like that, whereas you are the ruler over the Muslims, like the Prophet Muhammad said, any person that's a ruler over the Muslim, and that person abuses his authority, abuses his position, Allah will take care of him. And we've seen it in history. Allah have taken care of a lot of Muslim rulers who abuse their position and authority. But do we rebel against them and fight against them? No, not as long as they're performing their prayers. And not as long as they still profess to be a Muslim. Remember, anyone who professes to be Muslim, their life, their honor, their property is sacred. Even for those that don't practice. Even for those Muslim women that don't wear hijab. Even for those Muslim women that have transgressed the limits and taken on the role of a man. The simple fact that she still says she's Muslim, her life, her honor, her property is sacred. That don't mean that we ain't supposed to warn when it needs to be warned, okay? That don't mean that we don't give nasiha when it has to be, when it's merited to be given. But we don't attack their honor. We don't take their life or their property. And I want you young brothers to understand, y'all got to stop all this bashing that y'all doing about Muslim rulers. Okay? Number one, calling them kafir. And then number two, talking, trying to have the people rebel against them. That's not Islam. That's some Kharijite crap. That's what the Kharijites did. The Kharijites were the ones behind the murder of Uthman. The Kharijites were the ones who pit Aisha against Ali. The Kharijites, they're crazy. They're terrorists. They're terrorists. So unless you some terrorist, you better go sit your behind down somewhere. This is why I tell a lot of you young brothers, y'all need to get off the internet. Stop watching television and stop getting involved in this political crap. This scholar bashing, kafir calling and all that. Because your emotions, you have no knowledge of the religion, no knowledge at all. You don't even understand what well better is. This is a basic. This is the shahada. Okay? So we don't rebel against our rulers. Y'all understand that? This is important. Do not rebel against them, even if they rule contrary to what Allah has revealed, unless they openly declare that they are not a Muslims, or they openly try to prevent you from praying and doing your religious obligations. Now, if they do that, then that's when we can defend ourselves. Everybody understand that? But even that's done with intelligence. Also, as Muslims, not only are we supposed to disassociate or show al-bara against laws and guidelines that contradict Islam, but also leaders and scholars who spread misguidance. These individuals exert a lot of influence and can lead people astray by promoting falsehoods like they did with y'all here in America. I'm sorry. I'm going to say it. The Muslims here in America were led astray. They voted for Obama. They let these men who they thought were scholars, and they're not. I keep telling y'all, America ain't got no scholars in here. Ain't nothing here but a bunch of hood imams. I keep telling y'all, these are hood imams. Hood imams that you guys make famous. Hood imams that you make famous. Okay? Well, you allowed these hood imams that you made famous to lead you astray with their falsehood about voting in elections. Y'all put Obama in. Y'all sent the weapons to Israel. Y'all put the LGBTQ on the map. And y'all started this whole Zionist attack. Listening to these men who misguided you. These men who led false information that totally contradicted what Allah says. That one verse in the Quran, Allah says they will never accept you. Even if it is your ardent desire to be friends with the Christians and the Jews, they will never accept you. That one verse there should have been enough to let you know that these brothers who were promoting you voting for Obama were leading you away from the right path. And not just that, but also leaders and scholars who endorse extremist ideologies that encourage violence, like the Kharijites. Like you see on Facebook, these other men who call themselves scholars. I keep telling you, ain't none in America. Ain't none. Okay? But they're posting up pictures of dead children, dead babies. The reason they're posting them pictures up is to promote violence, to promote anger, to try to seduce you, encourage you to transgress the limits. Okay? So we got the two extremes. The extreme right, the extreme left. You know, we're supposed to distance ourselves from that crap. Any extremist that encourages violence and terrorism, or any extremist that distorts Islamic teachings for personal gain, we have to do better. And that's what we had here in America. You had the hood imams who you put the term scholar with, telling y'all it's okay to vote for Obama because he's a black man and his father was a Muslim. That should have told you he must be an apostate then. If he went to a Muslim school and studied Quran, what happened? He must have apostated. That should have, y'all didn't see that big picture either. You had them promoting their ideology that totally contradicts what Allah says. And then you got the extremists putting up pictures of dead babies all over social media, trying to ignite you to get angry and go out and kill, when the Prophet said Never. Don't display people at their worst. When the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam went off on Bilal and the companions for dragging the captives of war through the battlefield to see their dead, he said, we don't do that as Muslim. We don't display people at their worst. We don't do that. But that doesn't mean you brothers who claim to be scholars, I tell y'all, ain't no scholars in America. Keep telling y'all that. They're trying to get anger. They're trying to get you to transgress. Okay, so again, we have to disavow this. We're supposed to disassociate from these type of leaders. We're supposed to disassociate from these type of so-called scholars. That's why it's important to learn your deen, guys. I know I got a lot of sisters here that tell me, Sister Layla, since I didn't know that it was haram to vote, I listened to Sheikh so-and-so. Sheikh so-and-so said it was okay. But now that I've been coming to your classes, I know now that it's haram. Well, you should have sought the knowledge of Islam. Because only when we learn the religion can we decipher who is truthful from who is not. And that's the problem. You can't teach yourself this deen. You have to take your knowledge from credible sources. And a lot of people will say, well, Sister Layla, how do we know who's credible and who isn't? It's real easy. Allah says in the Quran, anyone who is sincere, I mean really sincere. Allah says, if you are sincere in wanting to learn this religion the right way, He will guide you to the right people. And He will. He guided you guys to me. Now you're learning the truth. He guided me to who I learned from, my teachers, and I learned the truth. If a person is sincere, but that's the problem, guys. Most Muslims today are not sincere in wanting to learn the truth. Most Muslims today prefer picking and choosing what they want to be true. Those women that don't wear hijab, they don't want to know that it's an obligation. So they're comfortable hanging around with those speakers who tell them it's okay, your hijab is in your heart. Those Muslims who do want to vote, they rather stay with those brothers who are telling them this, it's okay, than to listen to the facts presented that Allah says they'll never accept you. Allah says disassociate from any ideology that contradicts us. Democracy contradicts Islam. Ain't no democracy. So that's the thing. Are you sincere about wanting to know? Are you willing to submit? Are you willing to submit to the truth, which is be Muslim? Are you sincere in wanting to be a Muslim, or are you not? If you're sincere in wanting to be a Muslim, Allah will send you to the proper sources to learn from. Okay? So, Taghut, as you can see, guys, takes on many different forms. Accepting laws, rules, guidelines that contradict ours. Accepting ideologies, belief systems that contradict ours. As Muslims, we have to constantly evaluate our belief. We have to constantly evaluate our actions to ensure that they are in sync with what Allah says. This means if we have to reject anything or anyone that contradicts the law, then we have to have the strength to do it. Also, we have to affirm our allegiance and our loyalty to make sure that they are only to Allah, only to the Prophet, only to the Muslims, and not to some other belief system or some other nationality or something. And this is all what La ilaha is about. That first part of the Shahada, La ilaha. We're saying that only Allah is worthy of divinity. Only Allah is worthy of worship. And I totally reject anyone or anything that opposes that fact. I totally reject anyone or anything that contradicts what Allah says. That's La ilaha. Everybody understand that? So now I'm going to put it to the test. You got a quiz. Wait a minute. It's the same thing. Here's your quiz. That's the same thing, by the way. You're not missing anything. Which of the following violates La ilaha and demands that we do al-bara against it? And tell me why. So we're going to look at 4 examples. What about this? You work for a company that requires you to shave your beard. Is this in violation of La ilaha? Does this demand al-bara, and why? Who would like to answer? I kept the quiz easy today, guys. I try to give y'all real life scenarios that you might have to face. This is for the brothers here. A company wants to hire you, but they don't like your beard. They tell you that you have to shave your beard if you want to work for them. Is that in violation of La ilaha? Does it command or demand distancing? And why? What do you think?
Yeah, it does violate La ilaha. La ilaha. Couldn't get it out for a minute. It does violate that, and it does command distancing because it's going against the laws of the Sunnah.
MashaAllah. Good job, Atifa. I'm glad you're awake. Exactly. This is against the laws of Allah. So if you brothers come upon this, whereas I'm logging in on my other computer so I can see. I forgot I had my laptop here. I can see everything now. Okay. Yeah, exactly. If you brothers are offered a job and they say, but you have to shave, we want our men to look clean shaven, you don't accept it because this requires violating the guidelines of Allah. And I have to distance myself from this. There's other jobs out there. Now, of course, there may be an exception. By the way, there's an exception to every rule. Say, for example, if it's the only job you can get, that's different. Okay, but in general, then then you just distance yourself from it. What about this one? Participating in a Valentine's Day gathering. This is for my kids here. I'm trying to make these questions relate to life. I got kids here to learning too. What if your school or even your job for the adults, they want you to participate in a Valentine's Day gathering? We're just going to meet up because it's Valentine's Day. Does this violate La ilaha? Does it command or demand al-bara, which is distancing? And why or why not? Who'd like to answer that?
I would say it does violate La ilaha because this has nothing to do with Allah and worshiping Allah. It has to do with something of an innovation, and we distance ourselves from it because it doesn't have anything to do with Allah, and it goes against His command and His commands and what He has told us what we should be doing and what we should be staying away from, and those things are newly invented matters. So yes, it does. We should stay away from these things.
Okay, your answer is right, but your reasoning is wrong. When you say it goes against the laws, what do you mean? Can you break that down? What laws is this violating? Because that's what somebody might say to you. What law of Islam are you violating? Can you give me more on that?
Maybe I used the wrong terminology for that. But,
no, just think. I want you to get it right because your answer is right. You know the, but I want you to get these hadiths. I'm trying to. This is my hadith struggle, guys, as usual. What laws are you violating? You might come upon some innovator one day who might call you out on that. Why come I can't go to a Valentine's Day gathering? What law? What law? Show me. What do the laws say? I don't know. What law I'm violating? How would you respond?
I guess the belief in the law and not
no. What that got to do with believing in the law? This ain't about no belief. It's just a Valentine's Day gathering. Sister, I want to get with you. Sister, I want to get with you. It's just a Valentine's Day gathering.
Excuse me, Sister, can I answer?
Who is that?
Tahira.
Wait, let me see who that is. I couldn't understand. Whoever that is, Oh, who is it?
That's me as a child.
Oh, Tahira, that's my baby. Yeah, let me hear the baby answer. Listen to the baby's answer. Go ahead.
You can't celebrate Valentine's Day because it contradicts what Allah says, and Allah says that you can't have a boyfriend and a girlfriend.
There you go. That's the answer, Geechee. Exactly. That's why I put this one for the kids, and she answered it. Exactly. This violates la ilaha, and this demands distancing because of the value. Remember, our thing is anything that opposes the divinity of Allah or his morality, Geechee. Valentine's Day, we don't have boyfriends and girlfriends. I can't get with you in no gathering. We don't do that. You guys understand? She got it right. Good job, Melvin. Melvin got it too. Exactly. Valentine's Day encourages fornication. Dating. Good job, Sakina. Dating. Forget about that other part. Now, I'm going to tell y'all something about this saint stuff. Didn't I tell y'all? I don't want y'all dealing with that garbage. Valentine's Day ain't got nothing to do with no saint. I know every year, this time of year, a lot of these famous personalities, they put out fatwas talking about the history. What did I teach y'all? I have a degree in history. And what did I tell you about history? And any person with a degree in history like me will tell you, it's just his story. Most of that crap ain't even true. Hello, man-made. I want y'all to take Saints Day because I'm going to tell y'all, Valentine's Day don't have nothing to do with saints. That's a lie. That's a lie that somebody put in a book. I have a degree in history. Y'all want to know when Valentine's Day began? It ain't got nothing to do with no saint. It ain't got nothing to do with no religion. It's something that the Europeans used to do for their concubines. Exactly what it is. The Europeans, the Franks. It began with the Franks. It began with King Charlemagne, my descendant on my mother's side. Yeah, look at it. Google him. Y'all Google King Charlemagne. Tell me if I don't look like him. I got his eyes too. That's my mother's great-great-great-great-grandfather. He the one. He had a lot of women. He believed in raping the women. He was a Viking. The Franks were Vikings. pillage the earth, rape the women, and put their seed in them. And they didn't believe, they wouldn't marry the women. They believed by putting their seed in them, they were torturing them and making them civilized. So they didn't marry these women. They would impregnate these women and not marry them. But they would give them a present once a year. That's what Valentine's Day is. Give them a present once a year to acknowledge that I put my seed in you. That's the real truth of Valentine's Day. Okay? That whole stuff contradicts Islam. It ain't got nothing to do with no sainthood. It's just what Americans say it is. It's the day that I give a gift to my boyfriend. It's a day that I give a gift to my girlfriend. Ain't no history, guys. That's the truth. Americans ain't lying. It's all about sex, my friend. It's all about the sex. So like the baby said, this contradicts our ideology. This contradicts our morality. We don't believe in that garbage. We don't have boyfriends. We don't have girlfriends. We don't have sex out of wedlock. So we don't participate in that. That's one of the worst holidays for any so-called Muslim to participate in, because you are saying that you support fornication. You are saying that you support rape. You are saying that you support all this junk that ain't got nothing to do with Islam, that totally contradicts it. I'm glad the kids remember. And I want y'all to teach that to your children. This is why we don't do Valentine's Day, because we do not believe in having sex out of wedlock. And we don't have girlfriends and boyfriends. So we don't participate in that junk. I ain't gonna be your Valentine. I ain't gonna be your concubine. That's what they used to say. Be my concubine. That's the real history. But see, y'all ain't gonna learn that unless you go to college and get a degree in it like I did. When you go to college and get degrees, you learn a lot of stuff that they don't put in the average book. They want y'all to think everything comes from Christianity. No, sex ruled the world. Who ruled the world? Sex. What's the oldest profession? Sex. Be my concubine. Please, let me be your concubine. That's where it come from. You don't believe me? Ask Hakim quick. He'll tell you. He got a PhD in history. Hello. All right. Good job for the kids here. So we don't participate in that. This violates la ilaha, and this demands al-bara, which is distancing. What about this one? Good job, Tahira. You know, I got to include the kids here. Okay, what about this one, guys? This is for the adults. A group meets up once a month to read the Quran on behalf of the deceased. Does this violate la ilaha? And does this demand al-bara, and why? I got any Muslims here from Pakistan? Oh, I got a bunch of Somalis here. Hit it, Somalis. A group meets up once a month to read the Quran on behalf of the deceased. Does that violate la ilaha? Is that why y'all quiet? My Somalis confused? It happens in your cultures a lot. What y'all think? Cats got their tongues, guys. You see that empty? The cat got their tongues. I got a lot of Somalis in here. African people. What about Omar here? Omar here, are you in here? Can you answer this? Omar here.
They know the answer. I'm surprised they haven't taken the mic.
Girl, they probably got their parents around.
Can I answer?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, because the dead cannot hear us, and in order for them to receive these, they would have to say it themselves. Also, there's no evidence that of the prophet or the companions saying that they did that.
Exactly, guys. We don't do that, guys. We don't meet up once a month to read the Quran. Because again, if this is something that we can do, I'm sure there would be some hadiths. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam lost a lot of his companions at the battle. The best of this nation were those who fought the battle of Badr and the battle of Uhud. If this was something that we can do, then the Prophet Muhammad, I'm sure nobody loved anyone like he did his companions. He would have met up once a month to read Quran on their behalf. This is innovation. This is another example of an ideology that opposes Islam, the teachings of Allah. So we distance ourselves from it. What about this, guys? A group meets up weekly to learn supplications. Does that violate la ilaha? Does that require or demand el better? If you are part of a group and you guys meet up weekly to learn different supplications, does that fall in the category of violating la ilaha? What you guys think? Come on, guys. Let's hurry up. I got a Q&A in an hour. I need to get me a break. Come on.
Can I answer, Sister Leila?
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
Just log in. Yes, it doesn't violate La ilaha illallah because Allah commanded us to learn about our religion, to learn about Quran and the Sunnah, and the supplication is what Allah commanded us to learn about.
MashaAllah. So yeah, exactly, guys. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with gathering together for us to learn different supplications together. In fact, it's like Allah encourages us to learn together. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught the companions different supplications to say for different events and things. So there's nothing wrong with that. But getting together to read the Quran, and I'm gonna tell you why y'all twisted with that. A lot of y'all, I can tell who y'all listening to. Y'all better be careful listening to these famous personalities in America from out of Texas. Out of Texas. Tell y'all that ain't nothing wrong with y'all doing that deceased stuff. Y'all better be careful with that. And I keep telling y'all, these people that y'all listen to, they ain't no scholars. And these are the same people that told you it was okay to vote for Obama. When y'all gonna stop listening to these people? Same people. Okay. All right. And I think this is the last question. Yeah. This is a question of fiqh. The ruler of the Muslim country, Zainab, has made laws saying that it will not honor Sharia law, but instead will make its own laws. Is it lawful for the people to rebel against the leader? Why or why not? The ruler of the Muslim country, Zainab, has made laws saying that it will not honor Sharia law, but instead will make up its own laws. Is it lawful for the people to rebel against this leader?
Yes, it's lawful. Because Allah command us to obey our leader. Only to rebel against them when they disobey Allah and the rules of Allah.
Okay, so can you rebel against him or not? What was your answer?
Yes.
Do you guys agree with her? She said yes, they can rebel against him.
No. I say no.
Why not?
I said, why? If he's Muslim and he's following what Allah says to do.
What do you mean? He's not following what Allah said because he's making laws that contradict Sharia.
Well, I think I might have it mixed up. Let me think for a minute.
Anybody else?
As long as he's praying, he hasn't said that he hasn't denounced Islam, then you have to obey by him, what he's telling you, and let Allah handle him.
What do you mean by obey by him?
No, I'm saying you can't rebel against what he's telling you. You have to obey what he's saying, and Allah will handle him.
Okay, you said obey what he's saying. So that means if you accept whatever laws he say.
So in this case,
I want y'all to choose y'all wording carefully. Listen, I wish y'all could hear how y'all answer. Boy, y'all answers be all over the place. Go ahead. Let me hear you, Ifti.
in this case, because Zainab is coming out, speaking out against.
No. The ruler of the country is called Zainab.
Oh, the country is called Zainab. I thought it's a person called Zainab.
No, I just made up the names. I don't know about anything else.
Okay.
The ruler of the Muslim country named Zainab has made laws saying that it will not honor Sharia law, but instead it will make its own laws. Is it lawful for the people who live there to now rebel against the leader? Mina, I want you to try to answer it again and be careful. Choose your words. Think.
Okay,
yeah.
So we distance ourselves on what he's saying, but we do not rebel against him, as in fighting against him and trying to get other people to fight against him.
Why?
Because he's still a ruler, and if he's still making salah, he hasn't publicly denounced Islam, he hasn't publicly did it, then Allah will handle him.
Exactly. That's it. Yeah, because the first time you said we obey him and everything. No, we don't. We don't obey nobody and everything but Allah. But exactly. And that's what y'all need to, even if you live in a Muslim country, even if you're the king of that country said, no longer will I do Sharia law. I'm going to make up my own laws. You still cannot rebel against him. You still cannot fight against him as long as he is praying openly. Who is this? As the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, as long as that person is still performing their prayers, and unless that person denies la ilaha illallah, you cannot rebel against him. You ain't got to agree with him. You can advise him. You can send letters to him. You can even meet with him and talk to him about what he's doing. But can you instigate a rebellion against him? No. Can you plot and plan to kill him? Nope. But that's what the Kharijites do. But are you supposed to be a Kharijite? Nope. Y'all got it? Does everybody understand that? And that's just plain, simple English. You brothers got to get a clue. Stop going around calling people kafir and trying to ignite the people to go out and kill people and stuff. You people are Kharijites. And y'all better hope you never meet Umar. Because Umar would take all of you out of here. The same people that took out Uthman, radiyallahu anhu. Y'all need to cut that out. All right, learn the deen. Learn Islam and its truthfulness. And stop making up your own religion. All right, good job. So you guys did pretty good on this quiz. Any questions about any of these answers? You can hate the king of Saudi Arabia all you want to. Who probably don't hate him? You can hate everybody on earth if you want to. But can you rebel against certain people and try to harm them? No, their honor, their life, and their property is sacred. If you such a man, this is my words to you young brothers. If you all man like you think you are, why don't you go to Saudi Arabia and sit down with the king and have a talk with him? Why don't you take all that cowering to the king? Just say, brother, let's have dinner. Let's have a cup of Starbucks. You know I'm going to throw my Starbucks in here again. Let's sit down and have a Starbucks together. And let's talk about it. Why don't you brothers try that? Instead of all this YouTube inciting ignorant people to do damage. Shame on you people. All right, any questions or comments?